Andrew Rebela, a 26-year-old young man, seemed to have everything one could dream of: a large house, an expensive car, world travel, and a relationship with a charming model named Gracia. From the outside, their life looked idyllic, but few suspected that behind the charming smile of this attractive young man hid a terrible secret. The Rebela family lived in Perth, one of the largest cities in Australia. On May 25, 2020, a terrible tragedy occurred. Andrew's mother, Colin Rebela, died. Colin had 4 adult children, a daughter, Monica, and 3 sons, Julian, Andrew, and Fabian. The older sons, Julian and Andrew, already lived separately from their mother, while daughter Monica and youngest son Fabian still lived with her. On that fateful day, May 25, 2020, Monica and Fabian were at work. Fabian worked at a supermarket, and his shift ended at 2 p.m. He expected his mother to pick him up, as usual, and take him home. But Colin did not show up at the supermarket at the agreed time. Fabian felt that something was wrong. He tried to call his mother several times, but she did not answer. Eventually, the young man decided to get home on his own on foot. When Fabian entered the house, he immediately heard the sound of running water. The shower was on in the bathroom. The bathroom door was closed. He knocked and called out to his mother, asking if everything was okay, but there was no response. After a few minutes, Fabian dared to open the bathroom door and saw a terrible sight: his mother was lying unconscious on the floor. He immediately called an ambulance. While waiting for the paramedics to arrive, Fabian tried to resuscitate his mother, giving her artificial respiration and chest compressions as best he could. But all efforts were in vain. The woman was already dead. The paramedics who arrived could not help either. 58-year-old Colin Rebela was a wonderful and caring mother. Once, the Rebela family had a family mining business, but after Colin divorced her husband, she was left without a job. The woman single-handedly raised her children and got a job in a cafe. When the children grew up, at the age of 51, Colin earned a bachelor's degree, and then entered university, where she continued her studies in the specialty, healthcare management, policy and leadership. 2 weeks before her death, she started working in the Department of Health. Colin was happy and proud of herself, because her career was finally on the rise. Colin took care of her health, although she suffered from Hashimoto's disease, autoimmune thyroiditis, a chronic inflammation of the thyroid gland. It is also known that she had heart problems. In her free time, she did fitness and paid a lot of attention to her daughter and sons. The youngest son, Fabian, was 19 years old and, as already mentioned, worked in a supermarket. Little is known about the eldest son Julian, as he had long since moved away from his mother and lived in another city. The only daughter, Monica, outwardly looked very much like her older brother Julian. In 2020, the girl was studying to be a paramedic. On the morning of May 25, Monica talked to her mother. Colin looked healthy and did not complain about anything. The middle son, Andrew, lived with his girlfriend Gracia a few kilometers from his mother's house. Andrew and Gracia were a well-known couple on the internet. They met back in 2015 through mutual friends. 5 years later, the couple had a son, Romeo, although they were not officially married. Gracia worked as a model and was a blogger, maintained pages on social networks, published photos, videos and advertising posts, earning money from it. Andrew was involved in cryptocurrencies, considering himself an expert in this field. He claimed that he could predict market fluctuations and earn six-figure sums. But in reality, his financial situation was far from ideal. Andrew constantly lost money rather than earning it. Obviously, Gracia was the main breadwinner in the family, and Andrew only helped her a little with her blog. Judging by the fact that the couple shared their life on the internet, it was not difficult to imagine their lifestyle. In a home video shot in April 2020, you can see a large fireplace, a spacious sofa and luxurious furniture. Gracia posted videos of food and travel vlogs on her page, being the main star of her blog. Their son Romeo was in second place, and Andrew only occasionally appeared in the frame. Colin was clearly worried about Andrew's business and did not consider his work on the internet a serious matter. She said it was all temporary, popularity would pass, and what then? The woman insisted that her son should not spend all the money on expensive things, cars and travel. Outwardly, it might seem that Andrew and Gracia had everything, a big house, a white Range Rover Evoque, lots of expensive things, trips abroad. It looked like they were living a perfect life, but the reality was quite different. For example, they bought the car on credit, and the monthly payments were not easy for them. The couple did not own the house, they had no real estate or assets, their financial situation was very shaky. Compared to Andrew, Gracia had a more stable situation, and if necessary, she could earn more. Andrew, on the other hand, worked at a loss, his cryptocurrency business did not bring any profit. By May 2020, the couple had accumulated debts of over 120,000 Australian dollars, which is approximately equivalent to 75,000 US dollars. And it was in this month that Andrew's mother suddenly died. The day of May 25 began with joyful anticipation. Andrew and Gracia planned to spend time with the girl's cousin, who had come to visit them from another city. They were going to have lunch together, and Gracia was looking forward to this meeting. But everything did not go according to plan. Around 10 a.m., Andrew suddenly left the house without warning. He said nothing to anyone, just disappeared. At first Gracia was confused, but then she thought that maybe he had gone out for a short while and would be back soon. Minutes turned into hours, the girl's anxiety grew. She sent Andrew several messages, but there was no response. Between about 11:10 and 11:25, Gracia called Andrew 12 times, but no one picked up. The girl got angry and started sending him furious messages. Pick up the phone, where are you? Do you not have a phone, what's wrong with you? Answer, damn it, I'm furious, I'm so angry with you. Several hours passed. Gracia was enraged and just could not understand why Andrew had suddenly disappeared, leaving her alone with her cousin. Suddenly, around 2 p.m., Andrew returned home and, as if nothing had happened, asked the girls where they would like to go for lunch. Before going to the cafe, he sent a message to his mother to find out if she could look after their son today or tomorrow. Andrew wrote to Colin that he had things to do, so he would not be able to take care of Romeo. But his mother did not reply to his message, because at that moment she was already dead. Colin Rebela was found dead in her own home, her death was sudden and unexpected. Colin's sons and daughter were shocked by the news of their mother's death, but it never occurred to anyone that it might have happened under unnatural circumstances. Doctors knew about the woman's heart problems, so they assumed that the cause of death could be arrhythmia or even an aneurysm of the brain. In addition, Colin was diagnosed with autoimmune thyroiditis. The police officers who inspected Colin's house did not find anything suspicious, all things were in their places, nothing was missing, all windows and doors were locked, and there were no signs of intrusion by outsiders. As for the autopsy results, the exact cause of Colin Rebela's death could not be established, no injuries were found on her body. All her sons and daughter ruled out the possibility that their mother could have done something bad to herself. The woman had very recently earned a master's degree and got a new job, she was very happy and showed no signs of depression, so everyone thought that Colin died due to health problems. After the woman's death, her eldest son Julian decided to stay for several months in his native Perth. And it was he who began to notice that something was wrong with his brother Andrew, he began to behave strangely. When Julian was looking through his mother's documents, he discovered that her driver's license had disappeared somewhere. He asked his brothers and sister about it, and Andrew admitted that it was he who had taken his mother's license. After that, Andrew took the initiative to settle Colin's financial affairs, which was completely atypical for him. And later, Julian found out that his mother had several life insurance policies. None of the other relatives knew that 2 weeks before Colin's death, Andrew had taken out not 1, not 2, but 3 life insurance policies on his mother. It would seem that there was nothing strange about this, but the unusual fact was that he took out the policies not for himself, not for his girlfriend, child, brothers or sister, but only for his mother. The total amount of these life insurance policies exceeded $1 million. After his mother's death, Andrew made sure that all her mail was sent to his address, although Monica and Fabian continued to live in their mother's house. In addition, Andrew was the first person the coroner contacted by phone, and it seemed that the man was always one step ahead and kept everything under control. Soon, Colin's former psychologist called Monica and asked why forged documents had been sent to the insurance company on her behalf. Monica definitely did not send these papers. When the insurers themselves began to study the documents in detail, they noticed errors and inconsistencies and immediately suspected fraud. One of the insurance companies contacted the Western Australia police, and officers began an investigation. 5 months after Colin Rebela's death, all her children were summoned for questioning. Meanwhile, the police obtained a warrant to search Colin's house, as well as the home where Andrew and Gracia lived. That same evening, the police arrested Andrew on charges of fraud. Investigators found out that after his mother's death, the man had forged medical certificates, a will, and even a coroner's report. Andrew made himself the sole heir to all his mother's property, and his brothers and sister would not get anything. Julian, Monica and Fabian, upon learning this news, realized that Andrew had actually crossed them out of his life, and then all three wondered, did Andrew kill their mother? After these terrible accusations, Andrew was released on bail while detectives gathered evidence. The man hoped that the investigators would not be able to prove his guilt. As for Gracia, the model was not involved in the fraud and had nothing to do with this case. Detectives installed a listening device and a hidden camera in the couple's house. From October to December 2020, investigators listened in on conversations between Andrew and Gracia. The man repeatedly admitted that he had forged documents. Gracia knew nothing about it. The girl said to Andrew, "What have you done? Because of you, we ended up in shit. Why did you do it? It's so stupid of you." Gracia also expressed concern that she would be left a single mother. She asked, "And what are you going to do next, run away?" Andrew replied, "I didn't think this would happen. I'm not going to jail. I'll get my money and then leave the country." While the investigation was ongoing, Andrew continued to live his usual life at large. He lived in a luxurious house with Gracia and their son. The family, as before, made videos and posted happy photos. But 2 years later, this fairy tale ended. In November 2022, after a thorough investigation by detectives, Andrew Rebela was officially arrested and charged with the murder of his own mother. Andrew and Gracia displayed a glamorous lifestyle on social media. Their income consisted of money received from advertising contracts, sponsorships, as well as the use of credit cards. Gracia earned money on her own, while Andrew lied to her about his cryptocurrency business. He claimed that he earned considerable sums, but this money was supposedly frozen or would only become available in the future. In reality, however, Andrew had only huge credit card debts and nothing more. He continued to lie to Gracia about his income, maintaining a luxurious lifestyle. Being in a relationship with a popular model, Andrew felt the need to prove his financial viability to her. That is why he took out several life insurance policies on his mother, made himself the sole heir, and then cold-bloodedly killed Colin. And if he had managed to carry out this terrible plan, he could have passed off part of the money as cryptocurrency profits, thereby confirming his status as a successful businessman. Unfortunately, a considerable amount of time passed between the moment of Colin's death and the start of the police investigation into the murder case, so the officers were unable to find any surveillance camera footage in that area. However, they found very detailed records of how Andrew had contacted several insurance companies after his mother's death. Every time an insurance company refused to pay Andrew, he found a way to get around it, usually with the help of forged documents. In fact, he was exposing himself at every step. Andrew falsified the will, medical certificates, the coroner's report, but did not stop there. It was found that he used artificial intelligence to create a fake voice message from Colin's psychologist. In addition, Andrew told the court that his mother was very worried about approaching her 60th birthday, so she wanted to take out insurance to provide for her children and grandchildren financially. One of the detectives told the court that when examining Andrew's laptop, he found that all of his internet activity from December 2019 to July 2020 had been deleted. However, Andrew did not erase his Google search queries, which included queries about the causes of aneurysms, documents, and investigations. Analysis of the digital data also showed that Andrew's phone was connected to cellular towers near his mother's house at the time she likely died. This indicates that at the time of the woman's death, Andrew was somewhere nearby. In addition, witnesses were found who saw a white SUV parked near Colin's house at around 1 p.m. on May 25. Colin took her youngest son to work at 10 a.m. and then immediately returned home. At 2 p.m., she still had not left the house, which meant that the woman died between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. There is ample evidence and indications that Andrew was with his mother at this time. Gracia's testimony, as well as the fact that Andrew's phone hit the coverage area of the nearest cell towers several times, and his SUV was seen near Colin's house. It was especially suspicious that the woman died a few weeks after Andrew took out 3 life insurance policies. The prosecution argued that Andrew had arranged everything in such a way that Colin's death would look as natural as possible. He acted very carefully, but still made a few mistakes. In the photographs taken by the police immediately after the discovery of Colin's body, it was seen that the woman was lying by the shower. She had makeup on her face, jewelry around her neck, a gold watch on her wrist, and she was dressed. Colin had not let her hair down, and the mat that she usually put in the bathtub was lying on the floor. It all looked unnatural and did not look like the woman was going to take a shower in that state. As her daughter said, her mother always took off her jewelry and watch in her room, pinned up her hair, and only then went to the bathroom and turned on the shower. In court, Andrew denied his guilt in the murder of his mother, but admitted that he had taken out 3 insurance policies in Colin Rebela's name and then forged documents to receive the payments. Andrew's lawyers put forward various versions of the cause of death, including cardiac arrhythmia or even a brain aneurysm. However, the coroner's inability to determine the exact cause of death complicated the case, and it came to be based on circumstantial evidence. In December 2024, the jury unanimously found Andrew Rebela guilty of murdering his mother. His father Anton, who was present in court, was clearly upset by this news. His reaction was stronger than Andrew's, who showed almost no emotion. The measure of Andrew's punishment will only become known in April 2025, as he did not admit guilt. He faces life imprisonment without the right to early release. It is known that after Andrew's arrest, the media portrayed Gracia very negatively, and it was difficult for her to get through this period, because she also became a victim of deception. Gracia remains popular, as before, and maintains pages on social networks. She has found a new man with whom she is raising her son Romeo together. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Until next time, friends.